if you take the universities, for example, where I work, they're a good example of how the institutions have been steadily politicized and have become more interested in pushing an ideological agenda than doing what they're supposed to do, which is searching for truth and exposing students to a diverse range of ideas. And to give you one stat from the book, in the 1960s, for every one conservative in the universities, there were three academics on the left. Today, for every one conservative, there are 9 academics on the left. So, the ratio is not too far off 10-1. And we can look at the civil service, we can look at the public sector institutions, we can look at the media, as I say. And I think what might otherwise have been a testing ground for ideas, for serious discussion, is no longer that. You can see that in much of our political debate here in Britain. We do not have long-form substantive discussions on mainstream television about politics. One of the most interesting and revealing statistics is that ever since the vote for Brexit, one of our flagship radio programs, Radio 4 Today, which much of Westminster used to wake up in the morning and listen to, has lost 2 million listeners since the Brexit referendum. Public trust in established media has declined. Public confidence in the universities has declined sharply. In the US, it's never been as low. Public cynicism is up sharply. The number of voters who now say on the big issues of the day, like the economy or immigration, that none of the parties have the answers to these problems, has been steadily rising. And often it's majorities who hold that view. So I think many voters are looking at the political class today and are not just disagreeing with what they're saying. I think they just simply no longer have confidence in the capacity of our leaders to answer the longer term challenges facing the country, whether that's low economic growth, whether it's a lack of productivity, whether it's defending the national interest, whether it's strengthening borders. I mean, if you look, John, at the UK from Australia, the flagship promise of the Brexit revolt, which many Australians and Americans and others around the world will remember, was take back control. Take back control, 3 words that defined that grassroots rebellion. And here we are approaching 2024, and voters are looking at a country that cannot control inflation, that cannot control the illegal migration crisis on the Channel, that seemingly cannot control the constant spread and creeping influence of radical woke progressivism in the institutions, which cannot seem to control legal migration, which cannot seem to deal with crime. And I'm a pollster, John. I mean, I spend a lot of my time polling voters, sitting in focus groups with voters, and the apathy, the sense of apathy and disillusionment is palpable. So I'm deeply concerned about where we are. My hope with the events of the last decade was this, they would have forced the political class to move closer to the people and to begin to think about addressing some of these weaknesses. But unfortunately, they've moved in the opposite direction and essentially denigrated and dismissed much of the rest of the country. And that's a very unfortunate thing to see indeed.